Well, I like going hunting, just me, my hound, and my gun. Chasing them deer, rabbit, and squirrel, now that's my kind of fun. I like going fishing too, I'll go on any whim, looking for the big bass, the poppy, and the brim. Just give me a wide open field to walk through. Give me an ocean so deep. I want to ride the longest river in the world, or maybe climb the highest mountain peak. Like going down to the fishing hole, buddies and me and my old cane pole. Bait them hooks and wet them lines, it's the life I love so fine. It's almost supper time, you'd think the world was mine.
And now for today's outdoor adventure, here's Archie Phillips. Well, folks, we're down at beautiful Merritt Mill Pond in Marianna, Florida, and this is one of the largest, produces the largest brim in the world down here. The red ear sunfish record being 4 pounds and 13 ounces was caught here. The second world record, second to it I know of, was about 4 pounds and 11 ounces. And we got some folks here with us from the Florida Game and Fish Commission, John Cruz and Norman Young. They are the biologists for this whole district up here. They got something they're gonna show us here. And we got Frank Rooks here in the boat beside us. Now Frank he knows this lake like the palm of his hand. He lives just right up the block here. And a big Jerry Wilson in the back, All-American from Auburn, he don't know nothing about it. And he's been asking me to bring him down here when we come, so we're gonna try to catch some of these big fish, but most importantly, these folks from the Florida Game and Fish Commission has got something real interesting to show us. And Norman, you were showing me this tube. Now, what in the world have you got there?
This is the bottom sediments out of Lake Merritt Mill Pond. They've been in this tube for 40 days. We filled it up from here to here with sediments, and it had water on top. I pulled a plug, and that's how much compaction we've gotten in 40 days. It's almost about 50% reduced in size. We expect this to occur during the drawdown too.
You're gonna take the water out, and then now what will it look like when the drawdown's done?
Here's a piece that was really dried out. It's very hard clay type material, feels like. Now Archie, the reason we're doing the drawdown is try to improve the quality of the habitat in Merritt Mill Pond. It used to have 195 acres of vegetation in it. Now it has 5 acres of vegetation. The bottom is a real flocculent material, and we're trying to dry up and consolidate that and encourage establishment of desirable aquatic plants.
Tell me what flocculent material is.
Flocculent material is that very soupy stuff on the bottom.
That's not good for fish, right?
That's correct, sir.
Now, John, what kind of aquatic bottom do y'all look for, or do you think's desirable?
Well, since we have very little rooted aquatics in the system now, we need to restore a balance, something in the neighborhood of 50% of rooted aquatic vegetation. That will provide the desirable habitat for the nursery areas and the food chain for the fish. And if we can get 50% of coontail, for example, then that would be desirable. You never get exactly what you're after, but we've got to restore some, or the system will continue to tailspin.
John, what's them little old, look like eggs all over the bottom of them trees?
Those are the eggs of the apple snail. They crawl up and deposit their eggs, and they stay there until they run their life cycle, and they turn into snails, and the cycle goes on.
Does the shell crackers eat them?
They sure do. They love them.
They love them. So when you see you got shell crackers, you got a lot of those eggs. That's good.
That's the mainstay of the shell crackers diet in this pond.
Well, I thought little periwinkle shells was real strong too for them.
Well, they're good food too. They have a particular type of structure in their jaw where they can crush pretty hard stuff, and they like snail eggs.
We're sitting on top of one of y'all's fish attractors now, right?
We are.
And I noticed you've had some round, look like styrofoam balls to hold that stuff up. And it really helps the fish get in there, doesn't it?
It helps in the flotation of it and gives you more surface area for your food organisms and your smaller fish right on up through your predator fish. So it's part of the city, so to speak, for fish and their food chain.
I see. Folks, what you're looking at here is a red-eared sunfish, or what we call a shell cracker brim. This fish weighed 4 pounds and 11 ounces, which is 2 ounces from the world record. The world record being 4 pounds and 13 ounces. And the one over here is a 3 pound and 3/4 one. Now, both of these fish came out of this beautiful Merritt Mill Pond. It's at the Arrowhead Campground in Marianna, Florida. It is the most prominent large brim lake in the world. We've been mounting fish out of here for about 35 years. Mounted lots of 3-pound shell crackers out of this lake. And we got Ace Keist and Jerry here. Y'all make a kind of an annual ritual out of this, don't you, fellas?
We sure do.
How long you been coming here, Ace?
Been coming 8 years now.
8 years. How about you, Jerry?
This is my second.
Your second. Now, on the full moon or the new moon, these shell crackers come up out of the deep water in this crystal clear water around these cypress trees, and that's what y'all here for, us to catch them in today.
Right.
Tell me what happens when they're bedding up heavy duty.
Well, when they really get going, you can almost walk from boat to boat out here in the trees.
Just so many people out here fishing.
Many people fishing.
What's your best day when do you ever get here on a real good day?
Yes, it should be a little overcast. Real light drizzle is real good.
And a little overcast.
Yes, the water is so clear that they can see the shadow of your line, and on days like that, it helps.
What's your best day out here?
Did you catch 40? You and Don?
Yeah, 40, 45. We caught 45 one day.
And out of that bunch, what were some of your bigger ones?
Oh, there was all, I would say, in about a pound and a half, 3/4.
Did you get any bigger than that in that bunch?
No
You didn't get none of the big
no,
3-pounders,
no.
did you?
No, we didn't.
But there's plenty of them taken out of here when they're right.
That was all males, and they don't get
As big as the females, right?
do.
Well, that's great. Well, it's a beautiful lake down here, and they're going to do a little work. They're going to drain it down. They said there's not enough vegetation in it. They're going to drain it down, and maybe we can get the good fishing back in here that always was. Now, Norman, tell me how this gizmo works.
Well, Archie, we'll fire up that generator there. It'll be a lot of noise, and we run the current. It's 5,000 watts. We run it on DC most of the time, and run it into this booster up here right above the driver, and we can increase the voltage depending upon the conductivity of the water up to maybe even 1,000 volts, and sometimes up to 6 amps. We don't like to run over about 6 amps because it gets too hot, the booster itself. The current runs up here, and I can take my foot and I put it on the foot switch like that, and as soon as I do that, electricity's going in the water.
Then what happens to the fish?
It actually stuns them, and they actually just kick around there, and you actually reach down, dip them up with the dip net. You take them, put them right in the live well right here, in just a half a minute or so, they're right back to normal again.
It don't bother them none.
No, sir.
And so then you're able, this is about the best gathering way of adult fish you can get, isn't it?
Yes, sir. One of the better ways of gathering fish for fair displays, fish hatchery work, whatever.
Folks, here is the Blue Springs, or the head spring of the Merritt Mill Pond. There's other springs here, but this is the main one. And got Norman Young, who is the biologist for this area, and my good buddy Ray Scott, who's just fixing to get into it. Now Ray, you remember what my favorite thing about springs was? If you see it's kind of purple, I mean it's real cold.
It makes you turn blue all over.
But anyway, Norman, we have talked about the mill pond and what y'all have done. Now this is a big project for your district, isn't it? This mill pond up here.
Yes, sir. We started last year actually. We actually started the drawdown on the mill pond April 2.
So now y'all have brought the water. Now where we're standing would normally be we'd be in water, be about over our head right now, wouldn't
Not
it?
quite that
Not
deep.
about up to our chin?
Yeah.
All right. Now, we got her pulled down, and y'all fixing to let her come back up now.
We're in the reflood stage right now with very slow reflood. That is correct.
All
I
right.
brought it up 2 feet last week and gonna have 2 more feet next week, and then I'm gonna hit full stage.
All right, now, what was the purpose of doing this now?
Try to improve the quality of the habitat in the pond. It was terrible. There wasn't any fisheries habitat whatsoever in the pond.
Well, now, what you're doing here is like if me and Ray went up to, say, a big lake, and we dumped us some cedar trees in, to, you know, to attract our crappies and all that kind of stuff. You're saying these weeds that you're planting down here in Florida does the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Except you don't have to throw them in.
We don't refer to them as weeds. We refer to it as aquatic vegetation
Oh,
in
I
Florida.
didn't hear that biology talk, Ray.
What's the purpose exactly? Is that it's to help the fishery, but how does it do
Creates
that?
habitat for the fisheries. It has a lot of fish food organisms. That's where they reproduce.
All right, let me stop you right there now. That
You know, bug.
All right, when this new grass that you're going to actually go out there and plant grass down through here, right?
Underwater.
On this,
These submerged plants, correct.
after you've done the mud, you've got the sun heated the mud and packed it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to plant it, and then you're going to raise the water back on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now tell me, what happens once the water comes up? Taking me from step one up, what happens? You start talking about increasing the habitat and
Correct.
all right, what happens once that grass starts growing in the food chain? What begins to happen to make it better for the shellcrackers?
Okay, the plant will expand and provide habitat for the fish to hide in, cover for them, shade, and fish food organisms all reproducing that
In other
vegetation.
words, all the little stuff that grows on that grass,
And around it and in it, correct.
and then the little small hatch-offs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's their nursery.
You can go out here right now. In fact, we'll do it a little bit later, and I'll pick up a sample and just show you the little fish food organisms that are all in that grass.
Already.
It's all that is established out there.
That it is. All right, now, since you raised this, I was up here when it was up, and there was no grass on these banks at all back down through here.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's grass this high. What's going to happen to that grass that's not water-type grass?
Okay, most of that is terrestrial plants. It's dog fennels, cut grass, things of that nature. It will die back when I put water on it.
All right, will any of
And
that
it
be
will break-
helpful?
It'll break down. That's the same principle we do at the hatcheries. We take hay and put in our hatchery ponds to increase the zooplankton bloom to provide fish food organisms for the little fish.
So you got two somethings. As this decays, you get a good push,
Mhm.
and then when the good stuff comes up, you got it too.
The submerged plant will remain there. The quality, so what we plant will help it remain there. Yeah.
All right, when will you get a boom in your fish population?
Oh, that thing's going to explode next year.
You think it'll be
It's going to explode.
2
It's
years?
gonna
All be
over it.
super good.
In fact, I'm going to come back over here in a year or two from now and run for mayor this time.
You know that Florida has been on the cutting edge, on the front line of doing things like this drawdown. Not just this project, but for the last several years, I've been watching Florida lead the way on drawdowns.
Did y'all just learn this from trial and error?
Yeah. Yes, sir. We know mimicking Mother Nature.
I
In fact,
see.
the first drawdown in Florida was done back in the early 70s. Lake Tahoe-Caliga.
Yeah.
I bet people
South Florida.
hollered and screamed, didn't they?
Oh, they hollered and screamed. They like to keep the boat in the boathouse 12 months out of the year, and they didn't like that idea of that water going down and then not being able to use the pond for 6 months. But after it reflooded and improved the quality of the habitat and the fish population exploded, the biologist in charge down there, he told me he was going to run for governor.
Well, now let me ask you this now. You said after the drawdown, one of your buddies done seen the world record swimming around out there.
Yeah.
He wouldn't tell no story, would he? Has he got
No.
an experienced eye?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, he handled that 4-pound 5-ounce one. This one we got back in March, and
he ought to know what he's talking about, don't he?
yeah, that 4-pound 5-ounce was what, 17 inches long, I think.
Yeah.
He says this one was probably 20, 21 inches.
So,
and,
so the world record
five-
is still in here
5.5 pounds. Yeah.
now. Okay. Well, let's
I'm
get
pretty
it.
sure it is. Now I wish we could have picked it up and put it on the scale, and then it got a picture, put it back.
Okay.
There's little doubt in my mind it's still here though.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, Norman, you got Mike Guy there and W.A. Ray. Now, what they got there in the bucket?
that is Illinois pondweed's the common name of it. We are transplanting. It's a submerged plant. We're transplanting it here in the pond. It's just one of the plants we're transplanting.
Okay. Now, you're doing how many plants in here?
Oh, we've already planted 3 different types. A newfar, eelgrass, which is Vallisneria, and we're doing this one. And we're looking for another one too.
Okay. In other words, do you think he's a multiply pretty quick?
Yes, sir. We're planting them in the primarily in the upper half of the pond with the purpose of the plant become established up here. They'll move on down the pond.
All right, now y'all putting these right on the bottom of the spring run, right?
Yes, these are being planted submerged plants. These won't emerge above the water.
They'll always stay down there.
Stay down on the bottom,
Okay.
correct.
And then what about, did you put any on the bank over there much?
No, I'm expecting natural germination once that's reflooded of other plants that were in there.
And they'll come on. So you're
Yes,
concerned about the middle of this thing, right?
Well, all of it, yes, all of it. Southern naiad will probably germinate in those mud samples on the side or on the sides after it's reflooded.
If it was already up high, you wouldn't be able to do this hardly, would you? No, is it just not practical any other way except what y'all doing? And doing it by hand, right?
Yes, sir.
Ain't no easy way to do it, is it?
Gets it done, though.
There you go. All right, now Ray, we dove probably in one of the prettiest springs in America up yonder. Now, I don't know if you saw what was in the headwaters, that blue spring up there. They was about 10.
Oh, I went down.
Did you see them 8 to 10 pounders just laying in there like cordwood?
One I'm pretty near 8.5.
I guarantee, and there was one sure enough shell cracker.
Yeah.
Great big one. But Norman, now we just come by another one that was kind of silty when you got up to it. It wasn't a nice firm bottom like this one. Tell us about that one up there, Norman.
That second one down there is Twin Caves. It's a popular dive spot too on the pond. It's actually 2 holes in the ground, and they're actually connected. You can go in one, come out the other, and the cave does go way back into the hillside somewhere. I don't do cave diving.
It's spooky, I tell you, it's spooky.
If I'm ever down in a cave, it's cause I drowned it up here and I floated down. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe there's been about 20-something people died in that Twin Cave.
You're kidding.
Maybe that many up there in Blue Springs.
Now, Blue Spring goes way back up in there, don't it?
It's monster.
So we've got a gob of good fresh water running into it. That's one reason them shell crackers do so good, isn't it? I mean, it's all these...
Hard water creates all these, the snail population, apple snails. And
we came across, looked like 5 acres back there. It was solid.
Periwinkles, sure.
Periwinkles, solid. It must have been 10 foot deep solid. But now, one other thing, Norman, we want to caution folks that, I love to dive. We all like to dive. But you come in, that one back there we just left, that Twin Cave, it's silt coming in.
You get in there and silt yourself up.
And it don't take but just a little bit of moving your feet.
You lose your visibility and just get disoriented, and then you're dead.
That's right.
So folks just, that kind of doings is kind of foolhardy.
I think the same thing can happen right here at this cave, this hole in the wall cave. This is the third one down.
Well, it looks pretty simple, just a little...
dive in this one.
If you just stood right here and looked, at it, that ain't big as 2 boats hardly.
No.
Would you think that you could dive hundreds of feet down in that little bitty blue spot?
I tell you, you'd have
just to look at it from right here.
Well, you'd have to tie a very large rock on my leg to get me down there.
Well, I mean, it don't look that deep, does it?
No, it looks very
about 6 or 8 foot.
Very placid, and that's a really beautiful spot. But I also know it's dangerous. I ain't going very deep.
John Cruz here on my right. Now, tell me how big this fish is, this shell cracker right here.
That one weighed 4 pounds, 5 ounces.
4 pounds 5. And Norman, y'all boys are working for the freshwater department of your Conservation Commission, state of Florida here. And you're really out there trying to keep this bottom straightened out where this kind of fish will continue to come out of there. Isn't that right?
We want to enhance the fishery here, that's correct.
And Jerry, me and you want them to keep doing it, don't we?
Because I want one just like this.
Just like that. Here, this is one here that was 2 ounces from the world record that we mounted. It's 4 pounds and 11 ounces. The record was caught by a fella here in
Joey Floyd from Mariana.
And it was
4 pounds, 13 ounces.
4 pounds. Now, folks, we are talking about. Now, I want to show you people talking about hand-sized brim. There's my hand, so there's no deception. I want you to just look. It's not even close. Now, hand-sized, this thing here is 15 and a half inches long, and there's my hand. So you get an idea. There's my hand this away, and he's about that thick.
And look how thick he is.
Yeah, super. Now, I want Norman, I want to thank your boss and the folks down there in Tallahassee. Who's some of those folks down there that enabled us to get together with y'all folks here?
Old Tom Bond, Bob Wattendorf, and Smokey Hopeman, our division director.
I see. Well, they're doing a super job on this lake. Do y'all know of any lake anywhere that's ever produced these type fish? anywhere that you acknowledge. Now, y'all biologists, y'all make your living.
Last 2 world record came from this system right here behind us, so I guess.
And the last 7 state records came from this lake.
From right here. Well, that is outstanding. Well, I just want to thank both of you. Mr. Bill Reddick here to Arrowhead Campground here, right here on Merritt Mill Pond in Marianna. And of course, certainly he wants to invite folks to come down to the campground and enjoy. And if you didn't even fish, ain't this the prettiest place y'all ever
Beautiful
seen?
body of water.
Place.
It's got cypress all up through there, got a beautiful spring at the other end, and the main highway is just right there. I mean, you ain't got to go way off, have you?
Gin clear water?
Yeah, just as clear as a bell. So anyway, we want to thank all of you. Now, folks, you've seen
Not
it.
very often we get to work on a body of water like this,
It's
or
like
typical
this.
of this. Usually it's a highly eutrophic, pea soup green,
Bad stuff.
stuff. We've got a little problem here, but it's going to be a pleasure working on this one.
That'll be great. Well, you folks have seen it. Merritt Mill Pond, Marianna, Florida. Y'all stay tuned again next week for some more outdoors with Archie Phillips.